You know, they say the difference between a hockey mom and a pit bull? Lipstick.
She's back, if she ever left. Non-candidate Sarah Palin is out on the latest cover of Newsweek declaring, quote, "I can win the presidency." Joining me now is Steve Kornacki, political columnist for Salon.com, and Perry Bacon, staff writer for The Washington Post. Steve, can she win? She says she can win.
I mean, maybe if you define it the Charlie Sheen way, his version of winning, maybe. But I think this is a story that, when it comes to Sarah Palin and the presidency, I think the ship kind of sailed maybe 6 months, maybe a year, maybe more than that. You know, a long time ago. She came out of the 2008 campaign with some real momentum on the Republican side, I think, and she has just done a spectacularly good job of marginalizing herself, not just with the general public, but specifically within the Republican Party. You won't find many allies there for her now.
Well, Perry, CBS poll says 66% don't want her to run. 25% does. Her favorables up to 30.7, unfavorables 57.9. How can you win with these kind of numbers? Is she just angry or jealous that Michelle Bachmann now is coming out and kind of taking the spotlight from her?
I don't think it's that. I think that she genuinely wants to remain in the political scene but doesn't believe she can win. I mean, a good rule in life is watch people do and not what they say. She says she can win. She won't announce a campaign and go to Iowa, New Hampshire and campaign for president, telling me that she doesn't really believe what she's saying. And the numbers show that a lot of Republicans, don't want her to run either. That 66% includes a lot of Republicans who don't want her to run, who think she's a positive force of the party but don't want her to run. And I think that's a big barrier, and I think that's why she's not in Iowa and New Hampshire actually running for president right now.
But, Steve, if there are Republicans that don't want her to run but think she's good for the party, does this come down to her possibly being a coveted endorsement for somebody?
Yeah, I think there's still some value to that. Not nearly as much even as there would have been, a year ago, I think. I think she's done that much damage to her brand. But sure, when you get close to the Iowa caucuses, for instance, which are dominated more by the activists, more by sort of the hardcore base, the people who are most likely to like Sarah Palin, sure, at that point she could come in, I think, with an endorsement. But again, she'd be taking a risk there. We talk about the risk to her image from running and losing a campaign. You go out there and you try to play the sort of the kingmaker role or the queenmaker role in Iowa, and it backfires. That's not going to help her either.
Well, that happens, Perry, to be the problem. If she endorses and who she endorses loses Iowa, then does she devalue herself for the long run? What happens then to the brand of Sarah Palin?
I'm not sure I even agree that if she wanted to endorse Mitt Romney tomorrow, would he say absolutely? I'm not sure. I mean, I think she's very unpopular among independent-leaning Republicans, and some Republicans in general. I'm not even sure that he would necessarily want that endorsement. So I think that she really has, as Steve has said, really devalued her brand over these with the controversial things she said over the last year or so. And I think for the general election, she would be even more sort of kryptonite for a Mitt Romney who would not want to be near her, is my guess.
How does she play with the more moderate candidates who may not want her endorsement? And, Steve, do you think anyone would possibly ever say publicly, I'm not seeking Sarah Palin's endorsement? Doesn't that risk really marginalizing her?
I kind of wonder. We had an example over the weekend. You talked about that pledge out in Iowa that's making all this news. Well, there's one Republican candidate who's really been struggling to get attention, Gary Johnson, the former governor of New Mexico, who actually came out and said this is a horrible thing for the party, for anybody in the party to even be talking about signing on to this. This is divisive. This is terrible. He got better press out of that than he's gotten for the last 6 months. So I wonder if there's an opening for a guy like Gary Johnson. Maybe you take a shot at Sarah Palin, or maybe even a guy like John Huntsman, who's a little more serious, I think, than Gary Johnson, is really trying to define himself as sort of the maverick that John McCain way back was. Maybe there's an opening there for him.
But, Perry, there's got to be something to the fact that she draws a lot of media. I mean, how do you get angry at someone that likes to, go hunting and eats pizza with a fork in New York with Donald Trump?
She definitely has.
Nobody can bring that to the Republicans but Sarah Palin.
I agree. Reverend, I agree. I think she actually does have some strong support. I think if she decided to actually run in Iowa, she would do pretty well.
All right. Thank you very much, Steve and Perry. And thank you both for joining us.